So hey guys, welcome to the first How to Get Away with Murder live chat of season 5. I'm thinking this is working. Yes, it is working. Usually I don't just go live, I set it up and then it counts down, but this time I just went straight live. So something to remember here is that this is kind of a surprise live chat probably for anybody who is watching. And that is because I will typically be having the How to Get Away with Murder live chats at 5 p.m. Eastern on Fridays, but I was not able to do the American Horror Story live chat yesterday, so I had to move that to 5 today, but I still wanted to get in a live chat for How to Get Away with Murder, so we're going to try this. I have not told people that I'm doing this, so hopefully you guys will see it when you log on to YouTube, so hopefully some people will come into the room. I see that some people are in the room, so that's good. So if you're here and you want to talk about How to Get Away with Murder, let me know. I see Alex and Christian. Thank you guys so much for being here. For those of you who are wondering what happened to the countdown for American Horror Story, that's still happening today, but I had to go ahead and do this one, and it made me postpone that to, well, it was supposed to be at 5 anyway, but I had to delete the thumbnail and delete the title, but I will be setting that back up. That still is going on for American Horror Story at 5, but this specific chat is for How to Get Away with Murder. So if you don't watch the show, I totally understand. You don't have to stick around, but if you did watch last night's episode, stick around so we can talk about it. If you're not caught up, this will include spoilers, so you don't want to spoil yourself. But again, American Horror Story, for this week's episode, I will be doing a live chat right here at 5. So yes, How to Get Away with Murder is back, and it started last night. This is the premiere of season 5. Hi, Georgie. Hi, Courtney. Hi, Abdel. Again, I'm going to give you guys a few more minutes to figure out that we're doing How to Get Away with Murder right now. American Horror Story live chat will be in less than an hour at 5. So again, if you watch How to Get Away with Murder, you're not caught up, or you did not catch this episode, don't let me spoil you. Exit now. Thank you guys. For those of you interested in American Horror Story, I will be here at 5 o'clock. But anyway, if you did watch this week's episode, or if you're not caught up but still want to know what happened in this week's episode of How to Get Away with Murder, stick around. First of all, did anyone in the room watch this week's episode before we get into the discussion? Okay, cool. I know a lot of people are here that are here for American Horror Story, and that's totally understandable, and I'll be back at 5 for that one, so yay. Actually, I didn't even know that this show was starting back up so soon. I think I told you guys last week, I'm only covering American Horror Story, which I thought that How to Get Away with Murder was coming back in October. Well, it's practically October anyway, but it just kind of caught me off guard. A lot of stuff started back this week, including another show I watch, which is This Is Us. Now, I have DirecTV, and there was tons of rain, so I started watching it, and then all of a sudden, the satellite went out, and I could not watch the episode, so I have to watch the This Is Us episode on my computer later, because it wasn't DVR'd or anything because of the rain. Larissa watched the episode twice. I think you're talking about How to Get Away with Murder. So we'll go ahead and start discussing this week's How to Get Away with Murder episode now. It was the season 5 premiere. So we have the overlying mystery. It was what I put in my title here, is someone's going to die at Connor and Oliver's wedding, which is interesting. From the sounds the person was making, it kind of sounded like a woman. It kind of freaked me out that Christopher was chilling, sitting in the snow while this person was dying, and looks like Bonnie was closing their eyes and making sure they died or whatever. Of course, everything is not what it seems on this show, and that was our very first sneak peek into the big mystery this season. So just because it looks very sinister on Bonnie's part, and why did they put Christopher there to see this, we're not getting the whole story right now. So any thoughts about who is our victim this season? Remember, it could be pretty much anybody. It could even be one of the main cast. I don't think it will be Annalise, because, well, it's not her, because we saw her at the beginning having a good time at the wedding, and then seeing Frank and being oh crap, what happened, Ben says you really enjoyed the episode. You love the wedding death, but this Gabriel mystery isn't your favorite. So we were left with the cliffhanger last season about Gabriel, and we knew he was most likely Bonnie's son. I did a big video about that, and then since then, many people have been commenting up until this week with wondering, like, is it Bonnie's son? And there were several people wondering, was it Annalise's son? But I have thought that it was Bonnie's son all along, which I feel like this week's episode confirmed with her lipstick on the coffee cup and his DNA, unless they're doing a big trick there. I'm pretty sure that's her son. So Gabriel is now in Annalise's class, and he's someone who's like very conceited and kind of annoying. I think he's kind of annoying to her. So most likely he knows that he's Bonnie's son, and that's why he is there. That's what I think. Or do you guys think he just happens to be enrolling in that college and wanting to be in Annalise's class? I'm pretty sure he may have some sinister motives, and I'm not really sure what all he is tied into or what people are backing him, or if he's doing this all on his own. But to me, I feel like he's probably going to be connected to other sinister people that we have met throughout this show. I am very intrigued about the wedding death, and I really have no idea who it could be at this point, but it looks pretty interesting. I felt like this show over the past couple of years has had some slow moments, and I think the last couple of seasons I felt were kind of slow, but last half of season 4 I felt like really picked up, and I started really enjoying it again. Dylan says, you enjoyed the episode and you're so happy that I'm back. Thank you so much, and the fact that I'm your favorite YouTuber is insane because there's a lot of really good ones out there. Thank you. You're from the UK. Where in the UK? I really like the UK. I was in London last fall, about this time last year, and I miss it. So I'd love to go back soon. Amy, thank you for being here. I don't know if you watch How to Get Away with Murder 2 as well, but I'm doing that chat right now, and then I'll be doing the American Horror Story at 5. I know several people showed up thinking this was American Horror Story, which is confusing, but I'm doing that at 5. Typically, I'll be doing American Horror Stories live chats 5 Thursdays, like we talked about, and on Fridays, I'll be doing 5 o'clock this show, How to Get Away with Murder. So, Ben is wondering if maybe Asher is the one dead because he's kind of being set up to break down this season. So, we saw Annalise not include him in her class, which I felt like, I felt like that was pretty heartless. I'm not really sure what's behind that. Remind me if there's some reason why she would do that. I just felt like, wow, he's been through a lot, especially with his dad and then what happened with Michaela and everything. And I was just like, when it was down to like him and Gabriel, I knew she had to pick Gabriel because he's like the focus of this season pretty much. But I thought maybe she would make an extra spot for Asher. So it was just really weird to me that, she cut him out. Larissa's also wondering if it could be Asher as well. Amy's asking, it'll be 5 o'clock Eastern. So here in like 40 minutes or so. Yeah, so hopefully I'll see you soon. I will set everything back up. As soon as we're done with this chat, I will change all this over to the American Horror Story thumbnail and title and all of that stuff. I thought maybe I could set up like multiple chats at different times on here, but it wouldn't let me. Maybe you can. Like maybe I'm doing it wrong. So is our victim Asher? And like, I don't know. The only reason I would say it's not is, remember, he had a thing with Bonnie, and Bonnie seemed to be like making sure this person was dead. So unless some really crazy stuff goes down, like, is she that heartless towards him? I don't know. So we also have this relationship between Bonnie and I think his name is Ronald, which this guy was the son, like a teenage son on Nip Tuck a billion years ago, which was the Ryan Murphy show. I think we talked about this in the chats last year. Well, I guess like in the first half of 2018 when this show was on, which is weird because when I used to watch Nip Tuck, but it's been so long. And when I first saw him on How to Get Away with Murder, I was like, okay, that face is so memorable because he kind of has a unique face. And then people were like, yeah, he was on Nip Tuck. So hi, JIV actually went live like 10 minutes ago. No, 8 minutes ago, it's telling me. So it was kind of like a spur of a moment thing. I was going to go live at like 6 or something. And then I was like, with my personal schedule, it wasn't going to work. Typically, we'll be doing the How to Get Away with Murders live chats at 5 p.m. Eastern on Friday, so you can plan for that. I just was not able to do American Horror Stories yesterday, so I have to do that one at 5. It's very confusing. So Ben does not like this new storyline. You think he seems a bit off. Now, I will say a lot of times in shows, people play similar characters. He wasn't a villain in Nip Tuck, but he does seem kind of like a villainous character, so I could see there being something not right with him. I could definitely see that. Hi, Emmy. Thank you so much for being here. So, there's also still this drama, this mystery about Laurel's mom. Now, they were like, well, Laurel's like, you know, she sent me my baptismal gown. So, and Asher was like, I guess you didn't kill her, which was kind of a funny line. So, I don't think that means anything because she looked at Frank like really strangely and I was like, did Frank send that and put like her address? I still feel like she killed her mom, to be honest. I don't think she's alive. So I think that was kind of like some false information, some trickery there to make everyone think that Laurel didn't kill her mom. Also, we had Frank proposing to Laurel and she turned him down. I don't know how to feel about this. Part of me thinks they should be together, and then part of me knows he's like kind of like a stone cold killer, but then maybe she is too, so I don't know. You know, I mean, there's something I really like about Frank, and then there's also lots of me that knows he has a bad background, and I couldn't, if I was personally interested in him in real life, I don't know, I'd be like, you know, I don't think, oh, hi, you're E. I'm sorry. I called you Emmy. I know. I remember you from before. I'm so sorry. Hi, Luke. Thank you for being here. But anyway, with Frank, you know, I feel like I don't think he's marriage material, you know, but at the same time, yes, he's kind of a criminal. Laurel's kind of, aren't they all kind of criminals? I don't know. I think he's really good in her life as far as Christopher goes. And I think he sincerely loves her. So I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on Frank and Laurel being together? Something else to point out is that How to Get Away with Murder alum is on one of the shows that I fell in love with over the summer and binged and caught up on, and probably a show that pretty much nobody in here watches, but it's Insecure on HBO. It's not a murder show. No one's dying, whatever. But Kendrick Sampson, who was in, I think, this show 2 seasons ago, has a big role in this season of Insecure. He's actually in a mysterious situation that's going to be resolved Sunday in the finale. So I don't know if anyone watches that, but it's funny to see him in a different role. But the funny thing about that is that he was very shady and suspicious on How to Get Away with Murder, and now he's shady and suspicious on another show. So, hi, Ralph. Thank you for being here. One more time, I will say that we'll typically be doing these live chats at 5 p.m. for How to Get Away with Murder on Fridays, but today's the exception because I'm doing the American Horror Story one at 5. So Ralph is saying usually killing people is a deal breaker. He has killed a woman. Right. He killed the woman in season 1 who really didn't deserve to die. I mean, you know, when you look at it from, like, if you watch the show Dexter, he was a killer, but he was killing people who, like, deserved to die or were bad people. So, you know, I want to be like, see, but I mean, I can't be like, well, Laurel is super innocent too, you know, because I feel like she really did kill her mom, and her mom isn't a good person. I'm not saying she is. I don't know if she deserved to die, but Laurel's been involved in some shady stuff too, but I don't know. Jay Ivy likes them together. It's kind of confusing. There is a lot of gray area. Gray area was something that Annalise was talking about in last night's episode because she's like, she doesn't have a gray area, right? No, that was actually something else I was watching. I'm sorry, I'm getting all these things confused. I don't think that was in that show. I think that was in a different show. I watched like 6 different shows yesterday and someone was talking about gray areas. But gray area is the topic of this show because, like, all of the people involved with Annalise, like the Keating whatever's left now, is, you know, is it the Keating 6 or whatever? You know, they've all done some great things and they've all done some super shady things, and some have done more shadier things than others. So I'm saying there is a lot of gray area in this show because you can look at them and be like, yes, they're good people, and then you can look at them and be like, they're hardcore criminals at the same time. So that's like the allure of the show. And it is kind of like Dexter, for those of you who've seen it, in a way where you have someone who is at times a very good person, but someone who's also doing some very bad things. And the whole point of Dexter was like, you know, I'm not spoiling anything, but he was basically killing people who were bad people, but at the same time, killing people is a crime. And why is he the justice for everyone? Like, who made him the person who gets to decide, like, who should die for their crimes, you know? Ralph thinks that Laurel made that package to herself. Right. I totally believe she killed her mom. I talked about that just a little bit earlier. I also was thinking perhaps that Frank mailed the package, put her mom's address on it, that he knows or suspects that Laurel killed her mom, and they had a very strange exchange of looks when she received that package. So either she mailed it to herself, or he did, or they, he did and she knows about it, or whatever. But I really think he either knows she did or he really suspects she did. But yeah, I'm like 100% sure that the mom is dead, which is kind of fine with me because I hated the storyline between like her mom and her dad, and I'm really glad we're done with all that. I hope, even though her dad is in prison. Larissa says maybe Laurel's father had the package mailed to her to make her feel guilty. Honestly, at first, I had the thought that whatever was in the package was not a good thing, and she was, like, so eager to open it, and I was like, what's this going to be? I thought it was probably related to, like, some sort of blackmail about her murdering her mom, so not a bad point at all that maybe one of her dad's minions mailed that to her to make her feel guilt, but she didn't seem to feel guilt, so I kind of feel like either she sent it to herself or Frank sent it because she was, like, so sure that she could open the package. They were all like, wait, you shouldn't open that. You weren't expecting that. And she was like, yeah, it's no big deal. But yeah, her mom is definitely dead. I don't know when that's coming out, but they also hinted at that again when she was in Christopher's room and looking at her arm with all the scratches. So, also what I talked about quickly was Asher, as Ralph was bringing up, that it was not cool or too smart to not pick Asher. I felt the same way. I can't believe she left him out. I felt like that was really wrong. And as I said a little bit before, but I know people didn't even know I was doing this chat, so people are coming in as we talk. He's been through so much with his dad dying. I know he killed at least one person, whatever. But also, Michaela, what she did to him, and he's just had a tough, time lately. And Ralph is saying this will come back to bite Annalise. And so what people were talking about earlier is they were curious if he is the dead person at the wedding, which is our big mystery this season. Jay Ivy says, jumping to the ending, if someone is dead, you're definitely not believing the timeline yet due to how Wes was seen alive, but was actually not. So, as always with this show, anything, we're just now getting like some snippets of how this is all going to end when they reveal who is dead at the wedding. But they always, have much more to the story than what we think, and they always are clever about how they reveal things and how they work things in. So, I think it is really early to figure out who is the killer, or like, who is the dead person? I don't think we have a lot of clues in place that are substantial to figure that out. Maybe you all think differently. I don't know. So, Ralph is talking about Asher again, saying that he is pissed, and we all know he can be vindictive. Right. So, I'm really confused as to why she cut him out of the show, and even though out of the class, and even though I know she has like a set number of like people she can have in her class, I also think she has the ability to be like, I'm going to take Gabriel, but I'm going to also add one other person. So totally on her. I think that is bad. Luke is asking why the baby Christopher was sitting there in the snow as basically what we think is someone is like dying. I don't know. I thought that was really strange. I brought that up when we started the chat. So we really don't know if this person who is dying could be a really, really evil person. And we see someone like Bonnie come up and like close their eyes, I guess, whatever. So it may not be as hardcore as it seems. It seems really like, whoa, like what? I still don't understand why the baby was out there. But I did really enjoy the premiere. I thought it was good. I thought a lot of stuff was going on. And, I guess I was really surprised that someone's going to die at this wedding. I didn't see that coming. I don't think we got any hints about that in last season. Ralph is wondering if the body will be Gabriel. Right. So if I had to pick someone at this point as to who would die, that is who I would pick, because he's kind of like our disposable character of the season. A lot of times these people either die or go crazy or whatever. Now he's thinking it's Gabriel because Bonnie was there. You think Asher would be hanging out next to Connor and Oliver. And I also don't see Bonnie being malicious towards Asher because they had a relationship. Okay, so Ralph is saying Bonnie put the baby down to cover up the person's mouth. Okay. And I think they kind of wanted to put that in there for shock value. Larissa says she could have added Asher to the class just like she added Wes to work with the other Keating 4 in season 1. Right, absolutely. So she did it just to be mean, I guess. But do you guys know why she would want to be that mean to him? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Because I couldn't figure out last night, like, why would she do that to him, Luke says you like how they show the flash toward the beginning. Oh, so he likes how we started off with basically the end of the show, or the end of probably this half season. I feel like we will find out who died or who was murdered or whatever at the end of this half season. So maybe like, I don't know, November, end of October or something like that, maybe later. But Luke is liking how we started off with the wedding scene, which we know is in the future, and then how we came back around to it. Because usually, I think in the past, we would usually like end the episodes with this flash forward, but we started this whole season with a flash forward. But I was also curious last night, like how long can these people be in law school? Because here we are again starting a new school year, and I feel like the show has been on for quite a while, and I'm just wondering, as I've told you guys before, how much longer are we going to keep going with this show in the same setting of people being in law school? I'm really surprised they made it work with Laurel having a baby and keeping the baby, and now she's back in law school. And who takes care of the baby when she's at school? Is it Frank or I don't know. Does anyone care? Ralph says Annalise told Asher it was because of Michaela and being distracted, which is still silly. I don't understand. Yeah, she gave him some really lame reasonings why he couldn't be in the class, and she said basically his arguments for whatever the little test she was giving them yesterday, they weren't strong enough or whatever. But Jay says Annalise wanted the students to fight for a case that meant something to them, and his case was to spite Michaela. Okay, so his idea was kind of juvenile, whatever. But, you know, like, he also has a lot of dirt on Annalise, so I guess she has dirt on him too, but I just wouldn't exclude him because he's like one of her people, right? Luke says also, who was Frank calling throughout the episode? Well, that's another really good question that I haven't thought about. So he's basically conversing with someone about Gabriel, I feel like, right? But did he not at one point say, should I kill him or something on the phone? I don't know. Who do you guys think he's talking to? Ralph says it's hilarious with the plastic Oliver and Connor on the cake, maybe it being tipped over as a sign of things to come. That's something we have always talked about here on this channel and in these live chats. And I always kind of felt like something would go down or happen where they wouldn't get married, even though I do want them to get married. I mean, it appears that when we see everything, we're seeing like the after party, so I feel like they did get married. But will they have issues with their marriage or whatever? We'll have to see. Luke thinks it's Nate, and I feel like probably yes, because he's also kind of investigating the situation with Gabriel, and Jay is asking what is the deal with Nate. So I feel like he's kind of in cahoots. What show is that from? In Cahoots. Does anyone remember that? Like he's in cahoots with Nate and Frank have kind of been working together. It's very confusing because I feel like, you know, Wes was kind of working with Nate, but I feel like we didn't really get a great explanation as to why those two were working together. I don't know. So much goes on in this show, and it's very connected to day one of the show, so it's like sometimes it's hard to remember, did they resolve that or what, you know? I don't know. That's what I think anyway. So I'm excited. At the same point, I feel like I don't think we need a billion seasons for this show because it just gets silly. Just the fact that it's just not believable. How much longer are these people going to be in law school? You know, what? I don't understand. Ralph says, also note that when Oliver brought the food, Michaela is like, where is my salad? And Oliver said it got deported. Right. So, which is what happened to Simon. Very sad. It was a funny, quick line there because everybody got pizza or whatever. Funny but sad at the same time about what happened to Simon, even though Simon was super annoying, like he didn't deserve all of that stuff. The psychiatrist, I feel like, who was Jimmy Smits, didn't he have like a breakdown or something and he was just like kind of off the show? I really did not like him on the show, as you guys know, if you kept up with me last year or last season, and I was glad to see him go. But see, usually we have like a guest type of person, and we have Gabriel, even though he's not like a famous actor or whatever. I feel like he is like disposable, so if he dies, okay. I mean, that's kind of what I feel like. He's kind of like Kendrick Sampson and the other girl, I think he was like his adopted sister. Like we never saw those two again. Did they die? I don't even know. I feel like Kendrick Sampson's character didn't die. Luke says, too early for this, but you think the show will end with either the Keating Four and Annalise dying, or they will all go to jail for everything they did. Now, that is one thing I'm really excited to see, is how this all will play out for the very, very end. I think we've talked about this so much. Like, will Annalise will someone figure out that they committed all these crimes or what? That's really exciting. Jamie would love Bonnie to kill Gabriel, kill the reboot, but you don't think he is Bonnie's son. So I did definitely have some questions to myself last night. Is he Bonnie's son? It just seemed 100% like he was, especially with the coffee cup scene. And I also thought last season I did a video about how I thought for sure with the cliffhanger that he was Bonnie's son. But you know how this show is twisty, very unpredictable. I don't know. So Jamie, if you don't think that he is Bonnie's son, who do you think his mom is? Ralph says that Jimmy Smits left due to getting hooked on Jingle Jangle. That's really funny, which is a reference from another show. What show is that? Riverdale. Oh, so Caleb, who was played by Kendrick Sampson, he did die. Caleb, who was played by Kendrick Sampson, died. Did his sister die? Like his adopted sister? I don't know. See, he was our disposable character. Interesting. So, by the way, I don't watch Riverdale anymore. Is it better? I don't know. I still see a lot of stuff on it, and I know a lot of people like it, and I know a lot of like my friends in real life love it. I just did not get the inspiration to go back to it. But yeah, I'm excited. Scorpio says they were just because they were doing internships at law firms last season. Right. So I felt like they were kind of in the stage where they were getting ready to get jobs on their own, but now they're back in class, right? Am I missing something? Like, I feel like they were in a different place. Maybe they were in a different place because Annalise couldn't teach anymore, so we had to go to that storyline. I don't know. Ralph said every time they talked about Bonnie's kid, the immediate next scene is always Gabriel. I mean, it seems pretty cut and dry. And I'm just thinking, I know, like I was saying earlier in this chat, like a lot of people commented on my video from the finale saying they felt like it was Annalise's kid. But to me, like the coffee cup statement from this episode, I felt like that pretty much sealed the deal. So Moonglade says that Catherine, thank you for that name drop there, Catherine, who was Caleb's sister, is still alive. But I feel like I saw that actress on something else after that, and I was like, I know her. I like it when we see our people doing work again. You know, the people that can't be around for the whole season, the disposable characters. It's good to see them somewhere else, knowing they're getting their checks, you know. Luke says you think the show should end soon. We're 5 seasons in. You don't know how long they can continue the story, and you don't want them to drag it out. I am with you. I feel like we are getting close to the point where we need to quit, especially because I feel like they've been in college or law school for such a long time, and it's getting kind of ridiculous. It's not that I don't like this show. I do, but you know, I've seen a lot of shows go down the route of let's keep having more seasons. Let's keep having more seasons, and to the point where there's no reason to have more seasons just because they think they have a strong fan base or whatever. Deja thinks it would be too obvious if Bonnie is Gabriel's mom. I know, so I have a little bit of doubt about that. But then who do you think his mom is? Annalise? I don't know. Because we only know she had one child and that child died, and I think that's pretty for sure. But I remember people commenting that they wondered if that baby really died. But I think it really died. Anyway, maybe there's another kid she's not told us about. So Ralph is saying that the first 4 seasons take place over a year to a year and a half. So that's the way they're getting around this fact that these people have been in school for 5 years or whatever. Larissa says you feel that Gabriel is Sam's son from his first marriage when he was having an affair with Annalise. It makes sense. He's coming to Middleton to find out from Annalise the truth about Sam's murder. I like that. But why? Maybe Annalise gave him up for adoption or something. Because she's never talked about another child. And then Larissa says, or maybe he's Hannah Keating's child. It's interesting. It is interesting. Moonglade says you feel like there is still a lot of mysteries in the show which haven't been answered fully. Sure. Yes, absolutely. And Jay Ivy had to go. So what I'm going to do now is wrap this up for today. But next week I'll be here at 5 o'clock, and that'll be our time slot for this show, 5 o'clock Eastern. But I have to set up the chat for American Horror Story, so if anybody's in the room waiting on that, that is going to be at 5. I just have to switch everything out to that show. So thank you so much for being here. Basically, there was no notice for this chat, and I'm really sorry about that, but I was like, I need to go ahead and get this done because I want to do a chat because it was the premiere. So thank you for everyone who came. American Horror Story Live Chat is going to be in a few minutes, 5 o'clock Eastern, so I will have to close this chat out and then set up a new template on here for that chat, but it should start giving you guys like a reminder, like a countdown or something. So I'm going to do that here in just a minute. Thank you, Jamie. Deja says she feels like Michaela is going to hook up with Gabriel. That's funny because we know her man Marcus doesn't want anything to do with her. Like he said, she doesn't have Ash. Like she said, she doesn't have Asher anymore, and she does seem desperate to be with anybody. Okay, so thank you guys so much for being here. I will be back in just a little bit with American Horror Story. I will have to close this chat down so that it can upload to my channel, and I will start the countdown for the American Horror Story. I'm the killer this time. Yeah, I killed whoever dies at the wedding. I'm just going to tell you now, that was me that did it. I hope you guys enjoy my performance in this show. Stew. The stew is stew. Yes, the stew is stew. Okay, I will see most of you or some of you soon. And if not, if you don't watch American Horror Story, I totally get it. And I will see you guys next week with more on how to get away with murder. So, bye guys.